Good day. Welcome to another episode of the Rob Report. I am your humble host, Robert Bob TV Brown, and we're going to get into the story about the new stimulus deal that Nancy Pelosi and the Republicans and the Democratic Party recently did that kind of leave you, the regular people, out. It's just more candy to corporations. They say it's designed to help small businesses. A small business is a business up to, I believe, 500 or 600 or maybe 1,000. I used to be a group benefits coordinator, and we ourselves consider a small business anything under 500 employees. So it's just more money grabbing for corporations. So they came to a deal with this, and we're going to listen to both Chuck Schumer. We're going to listen to Nancy Pelosi about this stimulus package. Watch this.
Take you now to Capitol Hill.
Business people, mayors.
I want to take you now to Capitol Hill. There you see Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer. Let's listen in.
Testing. We will not get America moving again until we have a nationwide, well thought out, well executed testing program. And this administration doesn't have one. So we proposed 25, but we originally had proposed 30 billion, but we got 25 billion. But most important, we're forcing the administration to report to Congress on what is the national testing program, involving manufacturing and supply chains, involving free testing, and involving contact tracing, because they are laggard. And you cannot tell people go out on the streets unless there's adequate testing, or the fear is that corona will come back doubly as hard as it came the first time. So we got that done, and that's very important. We got money for our hospitals. They're hurting. The hospitals that are hurting are hospitals that are treating corona patients, and many hospitals that may not be treating many corona patients, but they are foregoing elective surgery. So in my state alone, hospital after hospital is furloughing and laying off people. As I mentioned on the floor this week, St. Peter's in Albany is laying off 700, St. Joseph's in Syracuse is laying off 700, and these are not hotspots. And so we did, of the four major things we pushed for, we got three, over Republican resistance, but they knew they needed us. The one we didn't get was state and local government. We're deeply disappointed. It is not state and local government. It is policemen and firemen. It is bus drivers. It is people who work in hospitals. There are many municipal hospitals and many others who are vital. And they should not be laid off. And that's why we wanted to help state and local governments. We did get one change, just one, but it's important. We got a commitment from the President and Secretary Mnuchin that they will be able to use their state and local money that the feds are giving them, whether in COVID-3 or COVID-4, to deal with revenue losses, and that's very important. That was the second most important thing they wanted, other than more money. Now, one final thing. There will be a big, broad, bold COVID-4. For anyone who thinks this is the last train out of the station, that is not even close to the case. And the Speaker and I will begin rolling up our sleeves and working on that big, broad COVID-4 very soon and very quickly. And it's going to have a lot of stuff, too long to list, but I want to mention a few of the priorities that I have and I know the Speaker has. Election reform, money for housing. There's 3 months of rent forbearance, but what do people do after that? The Postal Service, money for a Heroes Fund. The people who are on the front lines, they should get extra money. And at the top of the list is a big, robust state and local plan. We're going to fight for that and many more things in COVID-4, which I think will be soon upon us because the nation will demand it. Speaker Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leader, and congratulations on the unanimous vote in the Senate today on a package that we recommended 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today, Secretary Mnuchin called me and he said he wanted $250 billion, $250 billion, and he wanted it in 48 hours. That was Tuesday. Then on Thursday, Leader McConnell was bringing this bill to the floor and that he wanted our support for it. I told him that that wasn't possible. We had to have our consultation with the House Democrats about what we would propose. The next day, the 8th of April, that was the 7th, on the 8th, working together, congressional Democrats came together around a proposal described by the distinguished leader already on how we address the underbanked, how we address those in rural Native American, veterans, women, people of color, small businesses that are considered the underbanked, how they could be into the loop. Because it was a principle for us that we were not going to spend hundreds of billions of taxpayers' dollars to harden the disparity in access to capital that already exists in our economy. And this was a way to open that door. And then, of course, as the leader said, funding for hospitals and testing that he described, and I associate myself with his characterization of all of that. So here we are today, 2 weeks from that Tuesday of the request, when the Republicans and the administration replied that there was no way they were going to join us, that they had the 250, that's the way it was going to be, there was going to be nothing else. They took a defeat on the floor because the congressional Democrats stuck together, Ben Cardin and Chris Van Hollen objecting and then proposing our proposal, which is almost exactly what they passed today. So in terms of holding up the works, they were the ones who held up the works for a package that is more effective, fairer, and the rest as we go forward. And I don't, they like to say, oh, we held up. No, we didn't hold up. They held up. And now we have prevailed. This is a real victory for smaller businesses, as the leader has said, who really didn't have the banking relationships. But they don't need them under this legislation as it is passed. The one thing that we really have to insist upon in the next package is how we support our heroes. And under the framework of state and local government, we have healthcare workers, transit workers, police, fire, EMS, all kinds of public employees who risk their lives to save lives and now lose their jobs. And this is most unfortunate, and it cannot stand. They have huge loss of revenue because of what's happening to the economy. They have huge loss of revenue because of what is happening in their public hospitals and the rest in terms of other procedures. And they have enormous coronavirus cost. And we want the legislation that we pass in the next bill to reflect the need for them to have that recognized both with COVID-3, CARES 1 bill, and CARES 4, as Corona 4. We have to get our names now. Are we going to call them COVID 4? Is that going to be the standard thing? Okay, COVID 4, everybody knows what that is. And that's what we've been working with already, some of which we haven't been able to get in other bills. So under the framework of our heroes, our healthcare workers, our police and fire, and et cetera, our teachers who teach our children, the list goes on, of our public employees.
I can't go any longer with all this bull crap that Nancy Pelosi is spitting out of her mouth. All she want to talk about is it's another victory. It's another victory. Is it a victory for the working people, or is it a victory for the Democratic Party or the Republican Party? Because it seemed like she was going through that divide again of separating that we won and you lost. I don't give a crap about this stuff. I don't. Just do right by the American people. You didn't fight for Medicare for all. Medicare for all is one of the most needed things that we need in this system, in this American medical system right now, because our medical system is bankrupt. We got well enough money to go for Medicare for all, but you want to continue to keep this privatized, insurance-based medical system. That's not going to help most of these people who's dealing with coronavirus, who's going to the hospital. And if they survive, they got to deal with a freaking bill, because we haven't passed legislation to say that your bill's going to be paid dealing with this virus. And let's say if they did say this bill is going to be paid dealing with this virus, what about cancer? What about lupus? Why it just got to be coronavirus? Why gotta be about Ebola? There should be no reason why anybody in this country, the richest country in the world, the most wealthiest, so-called wealthiest country in the world, has to deal with medical, financial help. You shouldn't be going in debt trying to stay alive. You shouldn't be going in debt trying to beat cancer. You shouldn't be going in debt trying to survive a ventilator when they're dealing with COVID, if you make it. Well, the testing is free, and they just talked about it. We need to make sure this testing is free. No, the testing should be no cost. The treatment should be no cost. The hospitalization should be no cost, because we got plenty of money to do it. You just gave trillions of dollars to corporate America. You gave billions of dollars to the airline industry recently. There's no reason. You did a quantitative easing where you moved money around that you really didn't have to pay off a debt. And you telling me you could not do that for Medicare for all? Bad enough you're not going to do it for reparations for black people. But listen, something to help all people. You can't do it for them. Oh, we want to get this win for firefighters. We want to get this win for police officers. We want to get we won some money. We're going to give money to the hospital. If you had Medicare for all, small businesses wouldn't have to be co-paying into their workers' health care. Small businesses will save money because they're not paying into health care, and the workers will save money because they're not paying into health care in this traditional insurance-based health care system. Firefighters could fight fires and go get all the medical treatment that they need, even coming out of fire with their lungs black, without worrying about a bill. Same thing with police officers. Same thing with the healthcare workers that's probably catching diseases, trying to help people with, dealing with this disease. Who's going to pay their bill? All this stuff that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer is just yipping and yapping. Here she is, a 100 millionaire. Speaking of 100 millionaire, I'm going to get back to this. I'm not done. Nancy Pelosi goes on James Corbin's show, and they had this love fest. I knew I had something in common with you. You like the kind of ice cream that I have. You got the kind of house that I have. You eat the bougie ice cream. I knew we had something in favor. Shame on Nancy Pelosi going online, going on a TV show, touting her wealth in her big double refrigerator, restaurant-sized refrigerator, with all her food and all her ice cream in it, and all this bougie, talking about what they have stocked up for. You know, the average person cannot even with that funky one-time check, even with the unemployment with a little extra money on top, cannot afford to fill their refrigerator with chicken meat. We can't even get chicken meat out here. I bet you Nancy Pelosi can order some chicken from Europe and it come to her house, no problem. But we can't even go to BJ's and find chicken. Can't go to the CVS. I ordered toilet paper, paper towels, and everything from CVS. The guy called me who was doing the shopping for me. He said, look, they don't have any. I bet you Nancy Pelosi can get it. I bet you there's a stockpile for every senator, every congressional leader, every politician in Washington, D.C. I bet you there's a stockpile of toilet paper and paper towel for them. Even the military get a special stockpile for them that you can't get access to. And they want to talk about the great victory that we accomplished in this third stimulus. Now we're about to go to the COVID stimulus 4. You gave up everything. You stopped it. At the beginning of this crisis was so bad we had the Republicans on a rope. We had the Republicans were willing to do UBI. We had Republicans talking about a universal basic income over $1,000 a month for at least 6 months. That if they would have instituted and it would have did well, it could have went further than that. The Democrats stopped that. Democrats. We had Trump that was talking about doing the Medicare for all. In this situation, we shouldn't have to worry about nobody. We should provide. Democrats stopped the momentum on that. We had them on the ropes where we could have pressured them to get Medicare for all, pressured them to get a UBI, pressured them to Stop the student loans. I think Trump did do it temporarily. Stop student loan payments. That would have been great if he would have stopped it and finally canceled them. The Democrats wasn't even willing to do that. Cuomo stopped mortgage payments, but wasn't willing to go enough to stop rent payment. Punked out. And y'all want to tout Cuomo as a hero, and he looked good, and I think he should be presidential. He cut Medicaid in the middle of COVID crisis, and he made sure the wealthy people who can afford to live in a home in New York City got their mortgage frozen for a time period. But yet the people who can't afford their rent still got to pay their rent in the middle of this crisis. He couldn't go far enough. Democrats. That's why I don't trust Democrats. I don't trust Republicans, because too much posturing. Let's go into this story. Here we are with on The View. Whoopi Goldberg, who's another political hack, Bernie Sanders happened to let punk him out, gets on the TV, talks about Trump ad, which is a brilliant ad. It's a good ad. I hate to say it, yeah, but you know it's true. Here we are in the midst of a crisis. You're going to go up here and talk about your bouginess, and you got a district of people that's going to get hit hard in this crisis. Watch this.
The House and Senate are reportedly about to reach an agreement on a small business stimulus package. But last night, you know whose campaign launched an attack ad blaming the one person in particular for holding things up. Take a look.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
right now it's survival mode.
So I want to point out that the ice cream she's talking about actually comes from a small business. I know that because I send this ice cream out to people. And she is one of the people that is fighting to make sure that small businesses are able to get the testing they need and the stuff that they need. So, Joy, you kind of feel like she's being scapegoated here?
Of course. But I love that you just said that that's a small business. That's perfect. You know, the Democrats are, in fact, fighting for more funding for hospitals, and, as well as relief for small businesses, for minorities and veterans. Okay, that's what the Democrats are fighting for. So this is just another distraction. You know, okay, it doesn't look good, maybe. I mean, she's got an expensive refrigerator. Let's go to Trump Tower and see what kind of refrigerator he has, you know? But yesterday, Trump, I don't know if you saw this, yesterday, he's bragging about how much people love him. In the middle of death and dying, this narcissist is talking about how beloved he is. You know, so when it comes to optics, Nancy's got nothing on Donald. And may I just, a little piece of advice to Nancy and all these Democrats, don't go on comedy shows, they're traps. They're traps. They get you to say things there because you feel you're being funny. Leave it to the professionals and don't go on comedy shows. Come on our show.
Well, no, do go on. You have every right to say what's in your refrigerator. The man asked you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just because other people are going to turn it around and try to make you look bad doesn't stop the fact that you can't stop living because you're working with morons. But Megan, you tweeted last night that this ad was a savage blow.
Yeah, I thought this ad was a kill shot. And I think that it's not the ice cream that's in her fridge. It's the fact that she's standing behind giant refrigerators, multiple ones that cost $24,000 each. And look, you're right, Joy. Politicians are wealthy. Trump is wealthy. But I think in this specific moment, optics are narratives, and I don't make the rules of politics. This is just how it works. And when it looks like, and what she's saying in the video, and I also agree with Joy that if I were advising any politician at this point, I would also say tread very carefully with a comedy show. This is not the time or the moment to be doing something like this. I also agree. It's just there are too many minefields that you can step into in a situation like this. And this is an effective attack ad. And she's talking about the $250 billion that she is holding up for small businesses. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I understand Democrats and Republicans are going to view this from different lenses, but seeing a $24,000 refrigerator and joking about holding up money for small businesses at the same time they're showing videos of people saying that they're starving and showing pictures of their fridges, which are empty, it is very effective. And trust me when I say this will play very well in the middle of the country. And at the same time, you have AOC last night tweeting and then deleting a tweet where she's talking about how she loves to see declining oil prices because, again, people are not buying gas because they're not going to work because they're out of work and we can't work right now. And there's a bunch of people in the oil industry that are now going to be jobless. And she's making jokes about it right now. And she's a very smart woman. She has an economics degree from Boston College. She understands if oil prices are lower, it is not going to make the American public more inclined to support the Green New Deal. It's going to make people want to buy cheaper oil prices. So I don't really understand what this narrative is, but Democrats need to be very, very careful. And I said this yesterday on how they are treating and talking about people who are jobless and unemployed and going hungry in this country right now. And you have the two arguably most famous Democratic women in the country, I think, botching a major, major conversation right now.
Sonny, you think the Democrats are holding out, should be holding out because of the way the stimulus funds have been mismanaged?
Well, certainly, I think that the stimulus funds have been mismanaged. I don't think anyone should be holding out. I think everyone should get to work and make sure that these small businesses have the money that they need. But back to the James Corden interview that was like a week ago with Nancy Pelosi, I mean, you know, that's just manufactured, I think, Fox News outrage and Republican outrage. You know, they're talking about, but her freezer, but her freezer. I'm really worried about the bodies that I saw being put into freezers in New York. That's what I'm worried about. I'm really worried about the fact that there's no testing being done. That the fact that the vice president is saying that we are testing 150,000 people a day and that's enough. Well, that's not enough because it would take 6 years to test everyone. So that's really, you know, what I'm worried about. Blaming some Democratic message for Trump's incompetence and for Trump's negligence in managing this crisis is absolutely ludicrous. This is not a Democratic problem. This is not a Republican problem. This is the coronavirus, and this is about the Trump administration's failure to address it properly. Failure to address it properly, leading to over 40,000 lost American lives. Let's not miss the point, people.
But I think, you know, you and Joy
Well, I
just
also
said
think it's important that people have to
outrage. But I'm not someone who's susceptible to fear-mongering at all. And I used to work at Fox News, so I think the idea that I'm like fear-mongering in this way, I'm not. I think the optics were bad. I think it is a attack ad that was fed to the Trump administration, and they're going to use it. But this isn't manufactured outrage. I, too, am scared and worried about the body bags and refrigerators in New York City. Of course I am. It's my place I live for the past, 17 years.
Yeah.
Where do I unpack this thing at? You got a bunch of hacks. You got a bunch of hacks on TV because all they do is run their mouth and never really say anything of substance. And they're trying to deflect from the simple fact that, look, I'm not a Republican. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm me. I'm an independent. I don't take sides. I'm not on Fox News and I'm not on MSNBC. It was bad for her to go on a elite Hollywood show and talk about her lifestyle. She has hundreds of millions of dollars. She live in a mansion with her husband. They got all these investments. And I was told that whenever you make that kind of money in politics, you are crooked. She has not done nothing for a district. She's no different from Trump, who has not done nothing for most Americans. I put them in the same boat. They want to separate it. This is about Trump and the fact that it's about Trump. It's about Congress. You can't put everything on Trump. Trump is one person. You can't tell me people in Congress didn't know the necessity of this and they couldn't all march down to Trump and told him how bad this thing was. Stop. And yes, she is bougie. Yes, she is elite. Yes, she is rich. And yes, she is just throwing in the face. See, if Trump wanted to see one thing about Trump is not showing his house. Trump is not touting his gold toilet and his gold ceiling at this moment. Nancy Pelosi is touting her happiness with her ice cream. And if I don't have my ice cream, oh, things will be all horrible and wrong with me. I wouldn't be able to sleep. This is worse. This is worse than anything. And yes, James, I know I feel a close compassion with you. Shut up. You bougie elite rich people, you got everything that you want. You don't have to worry about it. You have somebody be happy to come deliver food to your house because they get the chance to meet you and see your mansion and possibly strike up a friendship with you. And now I can get stuff to your house when I'm not at work. I can't do that. You can't do that. Nancy Pelosi can do that. James Corman can do that. Whoopi Goldberg can do that. Oh, it's a small business. Small business is up to 600 employees. Oh, it's a small business and we want these small businesses to prosper and I send ice cream. I ain't got that kind of money to be sending all ice cream to my friend. You do, Whoopi. I'm quite sure people you watching this show, you don't have that money to buy that type of ice cream to send my friend. I probably can barely afford Target ice cream for myself, let alone send it to a friend. And then you got Sonny up there talking, oh, this is about Trump. No, you ain't gonna do that. It's about all your politicians, even the ones that you support. He has his blame, but Congress got his blame too. You can't throw this on Trump. Well, Trump should have known, blah, blah, blah. No. You could have did something to overpower him. You could have passed the bill to overpower him. He could have vetoed the bill, and you could have override the veto. So don't blame everything on him. Y'all all got responsibilities in this. So stop this. So bad enough, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer didn't fight hard enough for the American people in the first stimulus package. Bad enough that Bernie Sanders didn't fight hard enough. They say AOC, I'm just sick and tired. This is wrong. She's trying to make that video. It's the same video Bernie Sanders made when it came to the crime bill. This is wrong. It's going to disproportionate black people, but you still voted for it, Bernie. You still voted for it. You may not created it. It may not was born out of your mind, but you agreed with it. Well, I had to do for the violence against women. No excuse. You could have did that on your own. You still signed. The bottom line, Democrats and Republicans are still selling you out, and they don't care about you. They're sitting up here doing all this stuff for corporations. They're not doing this for you. Well, in the next stimulus bill, we got them. In the next stimulus bill, we got you. From the jump start, if Donald Trump was going for a UBI, you should have backed him. I don't give a crap what he did in the past. I don't care. I don't like what he did in the past, and I think he's a horrible president. But if he was going to push UBI, you should have pushed with him instead of resisting. Wrong thing to resist. If he was talking about doing Medicare for all, you shouldn't have resist. If he was talking about stopping student loan payments, you shouldn't have resist. If he was talking about stopping rent and mortgage payment, you shouldn't have resist. Anything that Donald Trump could have did with your help, where it could keep money in people's pocket, you should have not resist. You should have supported him in it. Do that mean he should get voted into the next 2020? Nah, that don't mean none of that. I wish I can kick all of you out of office. But right is right. But y'all too scared that this man gonna get a win, just like the Republicans were too scared that Obama was gonna get a win. And all this hackism and this territorialism is the problem with this country, and it's running this country in the ground. There's no reason we shouldn't have Medicare for all. All this stuff you talking about giving the police all, give them Medicare for all. That way we can save money when it comes to medical situation. The best thing you can give this country right now is not an extra $2,000 a month. It's good. We'll take it. It's our money anyway. Like Bush said, give it to us so we can spend it. The number one thing you can give this country right now when we're in a medical pandemic is Medicare for all. I say go further than that. Since black people and Hispanic people, they claim since black people are the ones that could be more subject to this, give us our reparations. You can't say you ain't got it because you just showed you had it. Either way, stop playing politics and give the people what they want in majority. Right now, in this situation, where we got a medical pandemic crisis, the least thing you can give American people is Medicare for all so they can get all the help they need and not have to worry about breaking the bank, which they don't have, to do it. Shame on every last one of you politicians handling this crisis, not just Trump. All of you. Shame on all of you who's selling us out by giving us the number one. I thought the stimulus package between Bush and then Obama, when it came to the auto industry and all that, I thought that was whack and the banking industry was whack. No, this is 10 times worse. You sold us out again. And I blame every last one of you mother. I blame every last one of you for doing this. And then you think I should vote for you? And you wonder why people like me probably vote green or probably put in Mickey Mouse instead of your name on the ballot? See, I don't do the lesser of two evils. And I don't do the who's the more lesser rapist, pathological liar bigot with a rape allegation. I don't do that. And for anybody else who think they got a real choice to do it, you done lost your god doggone mind. I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. I'll let you later. Peace.